Today I'm working on a 2004 Audi A4, just showing you how to fix a common problem these cars have. This is a B6 body. The B5 also had this all the time. I haven't done one of these in a few years because we're seeing less of these on the road now, but this used to be a thing I would do all the time. The wipers, they move really slow. They're not working well. They're barely moving. The wiper pivot on the transmission is seized up. So I'm going to show you how to fix the wiper transmission. First step, you want to pull this seal up. This seal just sits right here. Just pull this straight out of here and then pull this plenum cover out. With that out of the way, you get a little flat blade screwdriver and pop these covers off for your wiper arms on both sides, both this one, and then undo the nut that's under there. All right, I pulled the nuts off both of these pivots, and to get these arms, sometimes they can be a fight. You don't want to go too crazy on these. They make little pullers. I have a couple different style pullers to remove these. Sometimes if you lightly kind of rock them back and forth, you can get them to release like that. So I'm just going to do that on both of these. You can also, it's a little bit more risky, but you can take the nut that was on here and put it, screw it down until the face of the nut is flush with this, and then tap it a little bit while holding this arm out a little bit, and then you can get them to release like that. Usually, if you know, they make little pullers, but with the way this cover goes around the arm, it's kind of difficult to get it in there anyways. So get those out of the way, and then you can pull this back plastic cover off. Right, now that I have those wiper arms pulled, you have to remove this plastic thing. Typically there's supposed to be 3 little spring clips, one here, one right here underneath, and then another one on the other side. This car is missing them altogether, but normally those you have to pull off first. Use a little screwdriver. And then this plastic shield, you have to get in here very carefully, and this has to come straight up. It actually pushes down into the seal, so you have to carefully start from one end and pry it upwards carefully, not to damage the glass, and just work it down once you have it released on the edge. So I'm gonna start working on that now. All right, now that is that's out of the way, you got to be careful with that plastic cover. I didn't damage it, but it takes some time. You have to be just real careful and start on one end and work your way across. I usually start on the passenger side and work my way across, but there's no real reason for that. Now pull this cover off the ECU box. You can see there's just T30 Torx screws, so just get those all off. There's a few in the back. Just pull that up out of there. All right, with that out of the way, undo this screw here, this screw here, this one here. Undo these little this little harness clip, get that off there, and pull this off right here, and then you can get this whole thing loose and undo the plug right there. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right, with those mounting screws all off and the thing unplugged here, what I like to do is pull the linkage pivots right here, get these loose. You just use a screwdriver and kind of carefully pop these ball sockets off. It helps when you're moving this whole assembly, because then you can swing these arms straight, and it makes it a little bit smaller, more compact to try to get out of here. So I get this one loose, just pry it right here, and then the one underneath it, these both just pry straight up, and then you can take the arms and move them around. So that's what I'm gonna do now. All right, so once I had those two out, it was pretty easy to just pull it out of there, and with them released, the pivots move. So this is what I was saying, on the car it's easier to release when you take it and swing it this way, so it's closer to the body of the transmission. So that's it. This one's moving nicely. It's totally fine. You can pull this clip off here and grease it anyways while you're in here, because it's likely to happen to the other side. But this one is the problem. You can see it's seized. It doesn't move. So there's not really much to it. It's a pretty simple thing. There's a brass bushing in here, and there's a little clip up top. It's hard to see. Let me see. Yeah, this clip right on the very top edge that clip has to be released, and then you have to take a little propane torch, warm up the body of this, and kind of, you know, twist on this while you're warming this up, and you can slowly start to get it to free up and then work its way down. So I'm going to start working on that right now and pull the clip out, warm up the body of this with just propane, nothing crazy, and then start working this until it's free. Once it's free, you want to work this pin downwards. You pull the pin straight out the bottom so that you can clean out all the corrosion with a wire brush and grease it up. So I'm going to start working on that right now. So now you pull this washer up out of here, and you pull this, you clip off first, then the washer, and then the O-ring. Make sure that the O-ring is out before you start heating it up, and you want to replace this. This is the whole problem. The O-ring fails, water gets in, and that's why your pivot seizes. So what I like to do is just put a pair of vice grips off of it like that, and just warm this body until it's free, and then work this pin down out of here, and then you can I'll show you what to do next. Right now that I've warmed that up and got that out of there it is. You just want to take something like this and clean this the best you can. Get all the corrosion out of this pivot. Try to get it real nice. Take the other side of it to a wire wheel this till it's nice and shiny, and then you're going to want to reassemble it with a little bit of brake lube on this pivot. Any kind of grease you want is fine, but I usually just use a brake lubricant and new O-ring and put it back together the same way you found it. So that's it. Thanks.